Empire President-elect Learning Seminar team, I would like to welcome you to the first of our 4 Pre-PELS Zooms. And very glad that you're here. And I hope you'll share this information back to your clubs, how beneficial this information is. And again, you don't have to be a president-elect to attend these. These are good information for anybody in your club. With that, I'm going to turn this over to District Governor-elect Jim Crane from 7120 to introduce our 2 presenters.
Yes, thanks, Ralph. I'd like to introduce, first, enjoy tonight that you're going to learn quite a bit, both from Leslie Vecchiotti and Lisa Jackson, both of them great presenters. So enjoy tonight.
And I have one, I'm going to cut in for one last thing. Please mute yourself during the presentation. If you have questions for Lisa and Leslie, please put them in chat. We're going to be monitoring that at the end of their presentation. We should have time to answer some of those questions. So please mute yourself. And Lisa, Leslie, you're on.
All right. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks for having us here tonight. Leslie and I did this presentation last year. We've also been helping at the PELS Tech Labs. So without full-on bios, I can tell you we're reasonably certified to share this information with you.
Reasonably, yeah.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to be covering some high-level basics of 2 really important tools and databases that are available for you. One is ClubRunner, and the other is MyRotary, and specifically Rotary Club Central within that. I'm going to pull my screen up here and we will get started because we have a lot to cover in a very short amount of time.
Yes, we do.
Absolutely. So can everybody see my screen? We're good? We're good. All right, excellent. So we're going to jump right in here. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we're going to try to go through quickly enough that we might be able to take a couple questions as we go. But if you're truly confused about anything, please raise your hand using the raise your hand icon thing in Zoom so that pops up and we'll see that there's a question to address. So tonight our objectives are to cover what is MyRotary, how to create a MyRotary account, what is Rotary Club Central and why it's important for entering goals, what is ClubRunner, how to access ClubRunner, and managing your club executives within ClubRunner. And just to reiterate, these are only a fraction of what these tools can and should do for you. This is an overview. This is not an in-depth training, but it is a start just to help our presidents get situated. If you ever need one-on-one training or additional resources, please contact us and we will make sure that you have what you need. So jumping right in here.
And you will all be getting a copy of this presentation via email as well.
Perhaps. We need to collect people's email addresses to do that. I suppose if they'd like to put them in the chat, we can collect them after. So we'll get started anyway. So what is MyRotary? This is certainly a term you'll hear often enough. So one of our biggest tools as club leadership is what I like to call our mothership, which is rotary.org, the Rotary website. And on that, there is all the information in the world you could possibly need to know about Rotary and what it does and all the different aspects of it. But as a member and specifically as a leader, there is a portal there called My Rotary, and that is a members only section of it. And it is a place where you are required to have a username and a password to sign in. So this is in fact a tool that is maintained by Rotary International. And even though there's information for the general public about Rotary on their website, this is a member-only area. Every club across the world has access to this resource, and it serves as a membership portal and reporting tool. And all of Rotary International's member resources can be found here on MyRotary. Again, I like to refer to it as truly the mothership, the be-all and end-all of where all data is stored and where Rotary knows what our clubs are doing and what who's in our clubs and who are executives and who should be getting certain types of information. So the next big logical question is, well, what do you do here? What can you do when you're in My Rotary? So the first thing is you can look at your own member profile. What does Rotary know about you? Although I will side note here that even though data can be updated in this portal, all updates should be made within your district database, also known as ClubRunner, that we'll be talking about later. For data continuity, it's always better to enter it in your club database and send it up. From My Rotary, you can access Rotary Club Central, which is another reporting tool within this portal, where we do things like track our club demographics, and we enter our goals, and we report our club projects all through Rotary Club Central. And again, so we enter our goals, we can update our rosters, but we don't, but we can certainly run roster reports from here. You can see your club's invoice, which is in fact emailed to your president, secretary, and treasurer from RI. But if you're looking for another copy of it, you can sign on and pull it from here. You can see the Rotary Service Project Center, which is a whole learning section in and of itself, but essentially that's where clubs can report their service projects, and again, run metric reports about how many hours of service they're doing, how much funding have they received. It's a great place to find what other clubs are up to find project partners. Also within My Rotary, you can make and view your contributions to the Rotary Foundation. And just a quick note, it's tax season for all of us right now. So if you've made contributions to the Rotary Foundation, now's a good time to log in and get a report of all the donations you've made this year for your taxes. This is where we access the brand center to make sure that we're using current logos and templates for all of our club public image materials. And this is where we access the learning center, where there are, again, it's a whole other session in and of itself, but there's literally a session out there for every single member in Rotary, be it a new member, an established member, a member who wants to update skills. Fabulous resource, but not our primary purpose this evening. So step one, of course, is, so how do you create a My Rotary account? And the answer to that is you go straight to rotary.org or even my.rotary.org. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see a little screen that notes that you can either register or sign in. So if you have an account already, just hit sign in and keep going. If this is your first time creating an account, these screens will pop up. Essentially, what's your first name, your last name, your email, and then you'll have to activate the account. So once you put your email in, they'll send you a verification email to you, which will then bring you back to this next screen where you'll create your passwords and security questions. The really important thing here is you want to use an email that's already associated with your Rotary account, and you want to make sure that your account is in fact tied to your Rotary profile. It will ask you what's your member status if you're a current or former member of a Rotary club or a Rotaract club. And then once you go through that, it should make sure that you're syncing up with your actual club. So when you log in, you should be seeing a screen that looks like this. You can see here, it says, "Hi, Lisa, and this is your club. You meet at Schenectady Rotary. This is when you meet next. This is your district number." So if you're logging in and it says hello to you, but you don't see any of your club information, that's a time there where you have to stop and say, something didn't sync. It's really important because anybody in the world can create a My Rotary account. But if you're not connected to your club profile or your membership profile, you're not going to get any of the right information. So that is truly key. So after you create your account, again, you'd go to rotary.org, choose My Rotary, sign in, enter your username and password, and you'll be brought to your own individual homepage. On this homepage, you have a lot of tools here. The 6 most accessible tools are listed at the bottom. One is Rotary Club Central, which is what we're going to be discussing this evening. The second one is the Grant Center. The third one is your membership and foundation reports. You know, how many people are in your club, who's in your club, what are your membership trends? How much has your club or members of your club donated to the Rotary Foundation? The Brand Center, where you're getting logos, photos, videos, and other PR resources. The Learning Center, which is all of our training. And the Service Project Center, again, where we can browse club projects from around the world or enter your own projects. I can tell you from my own experience as a past club president, at the end of the year, there was nothing more satisfying than going to the Service Project Center and running the reports of all the projects our club had done and being able to publish something to both our members and our community saying, you know, that we did over 18 service projects, we logged over 900 service hours, we raised, you know, $30,000. And it was all right there for us because we took the couple moments it took to enter each project in throughout the year. And RI uses that information as well to run metrics, you know, how many service hours are Rotarians, you know, putting into their communities and the impact of Rotarians around the world. So it's not falling on deaf ears. It's really important to keep this information up to date. Within here, you can see under my name, there's an option there to view profile, which I'm not bringing up for you this evening, but within there, it will kind of give you your own Rotary biography of all the different positions that you've held. It will tell you about your foundation giving, and it will show you your own demographics. And again, this is set up for clubs to manage their membership in here. So anyone could go in and just change their membership information. For instance, if you moved, you got a new email. But if you can see the big red block up in the corner, please look but don't touch. It's for the sake of keeping our district databases, ClubRunner or DACDB, if that's the case, up to date with RI. It really helps if all the information is entered in our district databases and sent to Rotary International. It keeps everything much cleaner, a lot less work for your secretaries. All right, so club administration is a really important part of My Rotary. And to get there, we click on, there's a menu on the top of your homepage that says My Rotary. And when you click on that, this drop-down menu comes in, we choose Club Resources. And within there, we're finding really important club tools. One such tool is your insurance form. So every club that's doing a service project or renting a space, it is always possible that whomever you're renting from or the location where you're having your project might say, but are you insured? The answer to that is yes. Yes, we are. And if you need to show them that insurance form, this is where you're getting it from. So again, club resources, forms and instructions, insurance form, and the instructions on how to download the form are there. It's very easy. So don't let that ever be a stumbling block when your club is trying to book space. The other thing in here is, you know, your club finances. And I'm going to just stop and note here that what everybody sees on these pages will be a little bit different depending on your role within your club. A president and a secretary don't see the same things as a treasurer or even a member who's not holding a leadership position. So the position that you have in the system definitely determines what you have access to. So when you're asking for help from other members, you want to make sure you're asking people with the right level of authority and that those authorities have been assigned within our district database. So here, this is where you can see your club's invoice. You can see places where you can update your membership data, but again, don't, please. You can update your club data. Where do you meet? How do we contact you? But I'm going to, again, please don't. We're going to do that in our district databases. And managing membership leads, which is actually quite important, which I'm only going to note. This is where if a member is interested in Rotary, and someone says, oh, well, this is a district for you, and here's a club that you might be a good fit for, you would see that here. But I'm assuming that our membership committee will discuss that more in the future. But just know that these things are here. Or if your club is sponsoring Interact or Rotaract clubs, you can see that here, how many clubs are associated with your club. So I would absolutely recommend, once you're into My Rotary, hit all the buttons, man. Go look, see what's out there, because there's only so much we can cover tonight. Look but don't touch. Run all the reports you have access to. See what's there, because every one of these things is a tool that will help you do your job. I don't want to say better, but easier. All right, so moving on. We talked about, I'm going to back up 2 pages here. So from your main page, there's one option here. This is Rotary Club Central. When you click that, it brings you to this page here. And this is super important. So this is a tool that shows you, again, the demographics of your club. It shows you the goals that you've selected. It actually shows you the trends of clubs in relation to these goals around the world, or you can drill it down into different areas or district to see what are other clubs projecting for membership. How are they doing at achieving those, and kind of benchmarking yourselves against other clubs in other areas. There's also a variety of reports in here. Tonight, we're going to focus on the Goal Center. So the Goal Center, I'm jumping a little bit. My head's going faster than my mouth. Just a second. Who has access to Rotary Club Central? Every member can view it. But again, everything is limited based on your club leadership position. So your president-elect, secretary, and if you have one, an executive secretary can make changes to goals and items in Rotary Club Central. So everyone else can look but don't touch. And even presidents can only make changes in their own president year. So if you're trying to enter goals in for next year, only the current president-elect can make changes for their own president year. So that's really important. But your secretary or executive secretary can help presidents in any year. And again, every club kind of delegates these responsibilities differently. So just know where it is. All right, so we're going to talk about goals a lot, but why? Why is this so important? Why are you even bothering to select goals for your club? And I would like to reiterate that they are an amazing tool to help you with your planning and accountability. Rotary has streamlined the goals. There used to be, I think, close to 30 of them. They're down to 16, and they're all things that are really important for you and your club leadership to discuss for moving your club forward. So the very process of identifying and setting goals is a tool that helps your club thrive. When you're working with your club leadership and your membership at large to determine where the club wants to focus its resources, both its volunteer and financial resources, it helps you set your goals and kind of work on a plan for the future. It provides a target to work toward. That way you're not just spinning your wheels or doing the same thing you always did. You know, how many members do you want to have? How much do you want to give to the foundation? How many service hours do you predict to have? And we'll look at some of the goals moving forward here. It's a tool for you to provide regular status updates to your club so you can focus on your areas of weakness and celebrate your successes. It's also a great way for members who say, you know, what are we even doing? Well, you can say, well, we had a goal to get 5 new members in, and we've already got 3 of them. We're only halfway through the year, but you've got a place that's kind of tracking that. Or, you know, we wanted to have 5 service projects this year, and you'll be able to go back and say, well, we did 7, and you know, we managed to have, you know, 600 hours of volunteer time. It will all be in here for you in the end if you use the tools. They provide when you have measurable goals, they help you have a narrative to share with your members and the community. And of course, district leadership can view the goals for each of the clubs to help with their planning as well. All right. So Rotary is very much invested right now in their action plan, and that's all about making an impact, reach, engage, and adapting. So as you're setting your goals, you're thinking about your reach, how many volunteer hours are utilized, your impact, how much money is raised, how many grants were distributed. Again, to the reach, how many community members were served by Rotary volunteerism or grant funding. Adapting, in what areas does your club need more support? Where does your club do really well? And engaging, how is your membership gain or loss? How are your members participating or supporting your club or district programming? So you really kind of want to think about how these goals are helping you work within the action plan. And moving along here. All right. So we've talked a lot about, why we do goals, but how do we set our goals? And I'm talking literally, how do we set them in the system? How you set them within your club is really about your leadership getting together and discussing each goal category and determining what makes sense for your club on an individual basis. So when you choose club goals, it's going to say, hey, welcome Rotary Club of whatever. Which Rotary year are you setting goals for? And next to your Rotary year, there are 2 arrows. You want to make sure you're selecting your own presidential year because it will be set to this year. And you want to make sure that you're setting for next year. Or if your current president is updating goals for this year, that you're just in the right place. Ooh, sorry, that wasn't me, I swear. The goals are listed in 5 categories. The first one is all goals. So again, that's just a list of all 16 of them in one page. But then there's the 4 pages where they are actually separated into the areas of the action plan: enhancing engagement, increasing impact, expanding reach, and increasing our ability to adapt. So you'll click on the edit button on the goal page, and that will turn you into this edit mode here. And the priority goals have been identified by RI, and they are on the top of the sheet. So the first priority goal they have is club membership. If you choose the drop-down button there that says show goals in history, it will show you the last 5 years of what your club has selected for goals and how your club has achieved the goals that they've selected. So if every year your club says, we're going to have a goal of 100 new members, I mean, which is awesome, and we'd love to see it, but you're only coming up to 45 every year, you might ask yourself, is that a reasonable goal? Could we ever attain that? And the answer is yes, but probably over time. So it's really important to set goals that are attainable with a little bit of a reach. You never wanted to say, well, we're always at 45, so 45 is a good goal, because now you haven't created any challenge for yourself either. So you really kind of want to look at where has your club been and where would it like to be, and then setting your goals in a way that they are reasonably attainable with enough challenge to push your club forward. One of the goals is to have a strategic plan. And for the same reason that goal setting is an important tool, having a strategic plan is an important tool. What is your club's mission? What is their vision? What are they aiming for? How are they focusing their resources? And then using that plan as like a lens to filter all of your suggestions through. So if someone says, we're going to be focused on literacy, and someone says, let's plant trees, sometimes you can say, hey, let's use our strategic plan to see if planting trees lines up with our plan for literacy. And I tell you, sometimes there's gray areas and you can make it work, but it does help keep your leadership on track while they're allocating resources. And it's really just a great tool for planning for the future of your club. So there are 16 goals. You do not need to enter a goal in for all 16 of them, but it is highly recommended that at a minimum you choose 8. But I will add that, if you can set a goal for all 16, it gives you places to look. And some of them are like, how often are you going to update your website? How much is your club going to give to polio or to the foundation? And I didn't specifically list all the goals here. But the idea is that each one is an opportunity for your club leadership to get together, to make a plan, and then to periodically check back in to update the progress within the goal center. So things like membership and foundation giving are automatically updated. RI knows who your membership is because you're entering them into your club database. They know your foundation giving because you're using their tool to make your donations. But things like, did you create a strategic plan? They will only know if you come back and choose, yes, we achieved this. Or, we want to have 5 service projects. Well, that one actually will get updated when you go in and enter your projects into the service project module. and then those will also feed in. But some of them are just on your honor to go back and mark the achievements. So you want to at least go in once a quarter and update your goals and possibly even reassess them, once you get a better sense of what's happening.
And if I can
So-
just reiterate,
Yeah.
Lisa,
Sure.
the foundation goal and polio goals are really important to the district. It's how the folks on those committees create their goals for the whole district. So at least in 7120, we've been asked by our foundation folks to please, try to get every club to put in a foundation goal and a polio goal. Again, because that's how they then craft their goals.
Right. I mean, because our foundation giving ultimately becomes our district grants
Right.
3 years out. So again, setting goals helps with their planning, and then of course achieving goals makes the magic happen. All right, here we go. So there are 16 goals available to achieve. If you can lead your club in selecting at least half of those, only 8 of them, and setting targets and updating your progress through the year, and then achieving at least 8 of the goals, you can be recognized as a club of excellence. I would say it's an honor, and you get a lovely certificate from RI recognizing your club as one as a club of excellence. So something to strive for. And again, it might not seem like a big thing, but every time you have an opportunity to celebrate achievements with your club, it's an opportunity to generate excitement and a sense of accomplishment. So whether or not you set large goals or small ones, I think at the end of the year, when you can celebrate your club excellence with your club members, that in and of itself is something that provides momentum and excitement within the club.
Might also be a nice selling point to new members or prospective members.
Absolutely. So again, we talked about the goals, which was the first item on this side menu. And you'll see that 4 bars down there is one called service projects. And when you click on that, you get to the screen here. And again, you want to make sure you're in the correct Rotary year for entering your project. And you would hit this blue button here that says add project in the service project center. And this is, again, you can enter projects that are done just for the sake of having the metrics recorded. Or you can post projects that are in planning stages. Because once your project is up, other clubs can see it, and that can be used to help find funding resources or partners or additional volunteers. It's also a really great place to go if your club is trying to figure out what next project to do. Just browsing through that list for inspiration is really kind of exciting. And of course, Rotary International uses this information and metrics to measure the impact Rotarians make across the world. So yeah, we're giving them data for their big presentations too. Always a good thing. And again, we're not spending all our time here on how to enter service projects, but some of the items that they're picking here are, what's the name of it? What's a quick description of your project? Which category does it fall in? And I believe it's pretty much like the areas of focus. Where does it take place? When did you start it? When are you going to complete it, or, estimated? Where are you getting your funding from? And part of this is for them to see how much is coming from district grants or like the World Fund, or, it's really important to see, how much money is coming from outside sources versus internal. How is this project addressing your community needs? What's the impact? Is it sustainable? Who are your partners? And they could be other Rotary clubs or other organizations. Posting pictures or video. And how difficult was it? I think some projects are literally, hey, this was an easy one. You could do this in a day. Some of them take years to plan. So that helps people looking at it, hey, we're looking for a quick, easy. What have other clubs done? Or, hey, that was a really impressive project that took them years to pull off. And then they look at things like the engagement. How many volunteer hours went into it? How many volunteers? Where did the money come from? Cash, in-kind contributions. It's a pretty easy form to fill out, and not every field is required. So even for your quick one-off projects, enter them all in here, because I assure you at the end of the year, when you're doing your changeover and wrap up, to be able to run this report and show your club what they accomplished this year is an amazing feeling. Let's see here. So the last page that we're going to talk, well, is it the last page? I think it is. The last one we're
Yes.
going to hit on in here is resources. So on the resource page, every one of these little blue categories brings you to either the Learning Center or a PDF file that literally tells you how to do these things. So when you get off this call later and you're like, wow, that was a lot, and Lisa talks way too fast, because it'll happen. And you're like, I know I need to set goals, but how do I do that again? If you can get as far as into My Rotary and to the resources, is a whole thing here on how to set a goal in Rotary Club Central with literally a step-by-step screenshot and how to do each part of it. How to report the progress on each of your goals. It's all in there. It also, it also contains a lot of resources for membership, for your health check, which is just a form to fill out, membership assessment tools, creating membership development plans, youth exchange. There's a boatload of information in here. So if you're in Rotary Club Central, you can get to all this. I think that the important thing to remember is that more than anything else, Rotary International wants our clubs to succeed and to have our best experience. And they've spent a lot of time and resources developing these tools for us. And it's not to make our jobs more cumbersome, but it's because when we use them, it actually makes our jobs easier. And I think it's really important for you to remember as incoming presidents that it's not necessarily for you to do all of this by yourself. You likely have strong leaders in your club, a board, and committees, and it's important for you to be able to tell them as well, these resources are here for us, let's use them. Because it'll make their job easier too. And there's a lot of step-by-step guides that walk you through you know, how to onboard a new member, how to start a service project. I mean, it's all there for us. All we have to do is connect the dots. And where am I on time?
All right.
Am I, hold on a second, 7:30. I am like halfway through here. Perfect. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Leslie.
All right. So my role here is to share with you some information about ClubRunner, which is our membership database. Our district has a ClubRunner, and some individual clubs have their own ClubRunner accounts. Okay, so this information is for either or. As you can see, I'm not going to read down through all those bulleted items. I'll give you a moment to read through them, and then I might just highlight a couple. And Lisa, did we talk about how many of your clubs in CNY use ClubRunner, or did they use other database?
I will defer to Lizzie, but I believe most of them. I think there might be a couple that don't.
Okay, excellent.
Leslie, I just
all
put
of
something in
them
chat.
are in, Lisa.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Every Central New York CNY Rotary Club is ClubRunner.
Excellent.
All right, perfect. And Lisa, did you share something?
Oh, Lisa Norwood. Yes, I just put a quick call out in chat asking clubs to let us know if they're sharing ClubRunner, just as a way to develop some interactions. So look at the chat.
Okay, thank you. So this is where you make all of your additions, deletions, changes, any kind of edit you are going to make in ClubRunner, whether it's your own club's ClubRunner or you do it in the district ClubRunner. It's the same thing. You're going to use the same login either way. And this is the only place where you are going to make any of those profile changes, where you're going to add a new club, where you're going to terminate a member if you have a member who passes away or leaves your club. All of that's going to happen here. Another biggie is assigning club executives in ClubRunner. That's where you list your president-elect, vice president, all of your committee chair people. And then you can also add in your own. If your club has some special position that you made up just for your club, you can also input your own positions. But if you do not include your club executives in ClubRunner, then any emails that are directed to those particular positions won't get to those people. So if you have a foundation chair, but your foundation chair is not listed in your club executives on ClubRunner, and I send something out as district secretary to all foundation chairs, the one in your district won't get it, or in your club won't get it. So you're only going to get emails from ClubRunner if your position is listed on your club's page. Does that make sense? I can't see anybody, so I'm hoping it does. This is where members can go in themselves and update their own information. I get an awful lot of emails from people saying, my email changed, or we moved to a new address. Can you please update my profile? And depending on the day, I might say, yes, sure, I'll take care of it. Or I might send a little how-to guide on how to update your profile. So those things can be done by each individual member. You'll notice that there's also directories you can create, newsletters, websites. That's all based on what your club wants to do. I'll be honest with you, my club has just in the last year discovered the event manager, and that's been really helpful in getting club members to sign up for events and getting emails out, reminder emails. So if you haven't tried that, that might be something cool to explore.
I think it's just a quick side note. It's important to note that there's two types of ClubRunner subscriptions. One of them is the club level ClubRunner, where your club is paying for its own subscription, in which case it has access to all of these items. And some clubs are only using the district version of ClubRunner, where we have some limited capabilities. You can't create your own newsletters, websites, or email communications, or use the event manager if you're a club that's not paying its own subscription.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah. You ready to move on?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So this next slide is just going to show you a couple of QR codes you can sign into to sign up for the ClubRunner app if you do not have it yet. I know people who use it every single day, whether it's because, like Lisa, whether you're trying to find a member's phone number, or maybe you are trying to find, where a club is meeting, anything like that. There's so much information that you can get right on your phone. Lisa, are there other things in particular that you use it for most often?
Really mostly just to contact my club members. But as a president, I used it a lot to get the leadership of other local clubs. If I knew I wanted to call another club or plan a visit or partner with them on something, it was the fastest way to find the president of the other clubs.
Great.
It's really like having the entire district in your pocket. You've got the entire district directory, as well as district events and notifications from the president. And it's like, I don't know, it's amazing. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
And it's free.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, next. And I know we've said it many, many times already, but again, we want to add any new information or edit any information in ClubRunner, because ClubRunner is synced with RI. ClubRunner will go to RI. Lisa mentioned that she thinks there's been a change where if you do enter things or change things in RI, it will also sync with ClubRunner, but that hasn't been confirmed
not as
100%. Yeah.
Yep.
So what'll happen there is, for example, if you entered somebody's profile, a new member's profile into My Rotary instead of ClubRunner, they won't get the magazine. They won't get emails from RI because basically RI doesn't know they exist.
Right. The other tricky thing is like if you enter them into ClubRunner as you should, and then they go edit their own profile in RI and like change their email address, it creates an out of sync. And you, as a club leader, you're going to keep getting emails from ClubRunner saying you've got members out of sync and it has to be fixed.
Right.
So that's it. Don't ignore those things. They do need to be, addressed. And you can
Yeah.
always contact Rotary directly or ClubRunner even to get them resolved.
I have found that ClubRunner is incredibly responsive. I usually hear back if I submit a help ticket, I hear back within 36 hours, unless it's a Friday. But they're really very responsive and often include help guides and, you know, all sorts of attachments and step-by-step instructions for you. So they are incredibly helpful.
There's also
Okay.
a knowledge base within ClubRunner that has some great tools.
Definitely. All right, so where do you find ClubRunner? That now this is CNY, no, I'm sorry, your district website is where you're gonna go to access ClubRunner. And again, you're going to have to do a member login, and you get that initial login information and password from your club secretary. And they can also change your password if you need it changed for some reason. But you're going to use the same member login for your club level ClubRunner if you have it, as you do for district ClubRunner.
Mhm. If you don't remember your password, you can always hit the forgot password button and it will send you an email, presuming that the email you have on file is still accurate.
Although I have at times had folks who have tried the forgot password and it doesn't do anything. So if that happens to you, please contact your club secretary, and your club secretary can go in and make a change for you. All right, so we have a lot of, again, big dashboard with a lot of different pieces of information. You can go in as, you know, if you happen to be district administration, you know, that's great. You can go in, click on that, or you can go in through the member link. And this is more for secretaries and presidents. So any kind of membership maintenance, you're going to go into the for members section.
Ready?
Yep. Great. And this is where you're entering your club executives. If you notice, Lisa had the arrow pointed at 4 members on the last slide. Now we're looking at 4 clubs and defining club executives. So if you notice there, again, you've got to set that year to the correct year that you're setting up your positions. You can, over on the right, Lisa, if you can move your cursor to the orange box where it says add new members or add new positions, right there, you can click. And if you wanted to add a foundation chair, if you want to add a board director, anything like that, you'll get a drop-down box of available positions that have been preset. And as I said before, you can also add your own. Now, when you're getting ready for the following year, you can also, trying to see that blue button, yep, carry over. Right next to where it says add new position, there's also a blue button that says carry over to next year. So at the end, for example, at the end of this Rotary year, or as you're getting closer to the end of this Rotary year and adding your executives for the next year, you can just hit carry over and then go to the next year, and those positions will all carry over to the next year.
I'm going to just add, now is a great time to do that. If you haven't added your executives for next year yet, start doing it now to ensure that they're getting all the notifications as we're planning. You can always change them.
You can always, yes, you can always go in and edit this. Okay, so we talked about that, a great starting point. Edit the other positions that have changed. Again, if you don't have people listed for these positions, then emails that are being sent to a secretary, a vice president,
nobody's
a membership chair, they won't go to that person in your club if they are not listed under the current year's executives, club executives. And then you can see there, if you want to change something, you have some options for changing. You can edit, meaning you're changing the name of the person who's got that position. You can keep a position but remove a member by hitting clear, and delete, you can delete the position altogether. So those come in handy as well. There is a lot more that ClubRunner can do for you, and can provide for you. You have to go in and play around with all of those different links at the top, and just see what's there. One of the ones that I love is going to reports and then clicking on something about member data, and I can go in and make up lists with my members of all sorts of different information. If I want to have just my members and their phone numbers, I can click on members and phone numbers, and it'll generate that particular list. So there's just all sorts of reports that you can do. This is a resource to know where to go when. We have RI there, My Rotary, Rotary Club Central, and then of course the ClubRunner, both district and club level, and when to use each of those. I created this, oh gosh, maybe a year and a half ago now, because as a new district secretary, I had no idea where to go to access things. And I needed it to be clear for me. And I found that a lot of people have been helped with this chart. So feel free to use it.
Ready?
Yes. All right. So I was noticing an awful lot of questions popping up.
Yes. And if you'd like, I can read them to you and you guys can decide who's going to answer them. The first question is, it sounds like I should create an account in ClubRunner first before My Rotary. Is that correct?
So when you became a member, your account was created. When you became a member, somebody entered you into ClubRunner, and that's how your membership was reported to RI. So your first step, if you don't have it already, is to reach out to your club secretary and ask them for your ClubRunner login. For anyone in CNY, I can give that information to you. So you can shoot me an email and I can make sure you have your username, and we can reset your password if needed to get you started. But yes, you have to have your ClubRunner account before your My Rotary account.
Thank you. Another participant observed that Rotary Club Central is down right now. I'm just curious whether anybody else is having problems or if that's a regular occurrence.
It happens all the time, and always on the nights when we're having training sessions, and that's why we use screenshots and not live demos.
Right, right.
Perfect. Ralph noted that we will have a ClubRunner representative at MD-PELS in March. That's another reason to try to send someone in person to attend that session.
Is that going to be a session, or will that person actually be in the tech lab helping people, or both?
They will be
in
available for PELS. I didn't necessarily send him to Tech Lab. I really want him to get around to talk and interface with president-elects so they know who to contact at ClubRunner should they have an issue.
Okay.
Right.
Leslie,
I believe they will have a table at the resources fair, which will be up all day Saturday.
Okay, that's awesome. If you need to contact ClubRunner, you just submit a ticket. So just so people know that now, you can't contact individuals there, and they don't take phone calls.
If you get the direct contact from the individual that's coming, Omar, then you have a person to contact directly.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. He's helped me a lot. I just don't know if they like doing it that way, Ralph.
I know, but sometimes that's the whole purpose of getting to know somebody.
Right. At the MD-PELS, Leslie and I will also be there, I believe.
Yep.
Last I heard, at the tech lab. So we'll be there to provide some one-on-one assistance as well.
Perfect. Thank you. The next question is, does My Rotary allow you to set up continuing service projects? Our club works with the food bank and feeds the needy every fourth Wednesday of the month.
I believe they have the opportunity to repeat service projects. I think you can repeat them. But for something like that, I would probably enter it in for the year and aggregate it with a good description. I mean, it's really about metrics. It's not about having the most projects in there. But to be able to say it's really one project that you do in increments. And then I would repeat it for the next Rotary year. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure we could send a request to RI to see how they would intend for it to be used. But I think that would suffice.
That makes sense. Thank you. The next question is, do we need to enter all club information in both My Rotary as well as ClubRunner?
No, just
only
enter
in
in ClubRunner.
Perfect.
Yeah, only in ClubRunner. And then it will automatically it'll sync with My Rotary. It'll sync with RI.
Perfect. Another person asked noticed that when she jumped on the ClubRunner right now, she noticed that many of the menu items were grayed out. Does that mean her club is using the free version of ClubRunner, or what?
There's no free version.
No free version.
Using the district version, but it could also have to do with your own member access rights.
Member access.
Yeah. So if you're not a president, a vice president, president-elect, a secretary, you don't have a lot of access other than your own profile in there. Right. If you think you should have access, then we need to make sure that your club has you listed in the right executive position.
Gotcha.
Yep. So and if I can just say something too, you can go into your profile, and if you go under settings, I believe it's either settings or privacy. When you're in your profile, you can find out what your access level is. The lowest level of access is the highest number. So the lowest level of access is 70. And then 50 is usually for club executives, 40 is for club presidents, and 30 is for like everything.
It is possible some of the items too are in fact things that are district access only if you don't have a paid subscription on your club. So yes, both things are possibilities.
Right. So if I can clarify, there's no quote unquote free version of ClubRunner, but
well,
I guess
either the district is paying for it or your club is paying for it.
Right.
Right. So it's possible that the district can pay for a district subscription to ClubRunner, and then clubs just use that. But there is an option for clubs to pay more or pay to get more access to different features. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And just to give you a ballpark, I know our club, let's say for about 35 members, they do charge you based on how many members. We pay about $450 a year for 35 for about 35 members. So just to give everybody a ballpark.
And do you amortize that in your dues, or what does your club do to cover that cost?
Oh, it's a line item. So it's just something that's budgeted. And I don't, whether we take it out of dues or something else, it's a line item. So.
Perfect. And then another question of clarifying, what do you put directly into My Rotary versus what do you put directly into ClubRunner?
So you're not really doing any data entry in My Rotary. You're not editing your club information or your membership information. What you are doing in there, active data, is you're going into the Rotary Club Central portion of it and you're entering your goals. That's really the only data entry you're doing on that
Goals
portion.
and projects.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to remember that.
Yeah, and refer to that chart that I showed right at the end of the ClubRunner piece, because that also will be a helpful tool to remind people, to remind you, what do I do in Rotary Club Central? This is where I do goals, and this is where I can put in my projects and look at trends, things like that.
Where can people access that chart if not on this webinar?
I can, we can email it out. We'll have copies available at MD-PELS in Syracuse. If people want to email me directly.
Leslie, we can just send it to either Dave or Lizzie and we'll post it on the website.
Oh, sounds good. Okay.
Perfect. So I believe that is all the questions. If I've forgotten anything or didn't see something, speak up now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I don't know how to raise my hand on this. But...
Oh, I see somebody just wrote Rotary.org is also has a way to donate directly, which is an awesome reminder that if you just want to have an automatic deduction for a Rotary Foundation donation every month, you can do that right in Rotary.org.
Yeah. I think somebody had a question.
That I missed?
This is Janelle. No, I didn't put it in the chat. Okay.
Okay, that's right, Janelle.
So for the data entry into club member changes and stuff like that, do you have to push a button after you make those changes? You have to push the data, I think. You have to do that?
There's a save button.
Just a save button. Okay. I didn't know if there was you had to push the data to RI after that.
Nope, you don't have to do anything with that as long as it's entered in ClubRunner, then it will be synced with RI.
Because I keep getting the data.
Jeff has a question. Jeff has a question, but you're muted, Jeff. You've got to unmute yourself.
And I don't think Janelle was finished with her question.
No, Janelle wasn't finished.
I was waiting. I'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah, my little peanut gallery comment at the end. I keep getting those data emails, so I was checking to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong.
You're not doing something wrong, but there is a function in there. And again, we didn't cover all the parts and pieces tonight, to do a member sync or an executive sync, to either make sure that your membership information is perfectly matched with RI's or that your leadership titles are also matched. So if you run that, you should be able to see who's out of sync, and it will tell you, ClubRunner has this person listed and RI has that one, and it'll ask you which one's right. And you can just click the arrow and then hit resync, and it should send the information back to where it's supposed to go. I can certainly help you with that later if need be.
I was having the issue if I was putting it in both My Rotary and ClubRunner, because I thought that's what we had to do. That's probably why I was having the issue.
Yes, probably. So then you definitely want to make sure, especially for members, that if they're in there twice, that they only have one membership ID. And sometimes the easiest way to clear those up is to take a screenshot of the issue and send it to data@rotary.org and ask them
Oh.
to help you. They will
Yeah.
fix it, and they're pretty good about that.
They did. They helped me with some dates that were wrong.
Yep.
Thank you for that.
But
I
definitely
understand?
do clean those up. Don't ignore them.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's in there twice and they're making foundation donations, their donations might be on two different member profiles, and that's problematic.
Oh, okay.
So you definitely want to say, hey, we've got a person in here, they've got two different membership IDs, data@rotary.org. They will fix it and merge everything.
And what I've seen there is that on one profile, a nickname is used, and on another profile, it's the given name. And it's like, I wouldn't mess around with nicknames and things like that. Just put in the person's proper name. Jeff,
Use
you
the
had a
word
question.
Yes, question for Leslie. On the Club Runner where you mentioned the 70s and the 50s was for president. I looked on mine the other day and everybody was at 70. Presidents,
Everybody in your club.
everybody in the club is at 70. What changes that?
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, doesn't the lower number give you more access? Oh, okay. That's what I
Maybe
understood.
okay, I'm gonna rephrase that. If you're using a club version of ClubRunner, perhaps, but on the district level version, no.
Okay, so 70s, all we're gonna get. That's fine. All right.
And if there's something you need done, Jeff, you can email me directly and I can
Okay.
walk you through it. One of the things that both Lisa and I can do is individual Zooms, one-on-one Zooms, where we can look at your screen, you can look at our screen, and we can
Okay.
really just walk you through a process. I've found that to be really helpful with a lot of the members in our district.
All right, that'd be great. Thank you.
Happy to do it.
We'd both rather do a million one-on-ones if we had to than to have the admin of our district kind of falling apart.
Yeah.
We'd rather help you.
And I saw a message in the chat that just a reminder that this is hard. It is hard. It's hard to wrap your head around where to go to find what and what do I click on and, you know, how many clicks away am I from where I need to be? It's very, very confusing. So please don't hesitate. I say try for 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, if you still haven't got it, then contact somebody, whether it's contacting ClubRunner, contact me, contact Lisa, you know, whoever. Just don't spend a lot of time just trying to find an answer and getting yourself all frustrated and flustered.
Thank you both, Leslie and Lisa. This is what's so important about these sessions. Now, I'm a little disappointed we don't have the participation that I would have hoped we would have had tonight from other PEs, but the recordings will be on the website. You know, when you go back to your clubs, have your secretaries particularly listen to this. This is good information. When you go back to next week's presentation, invite your treasurers to come because that's about financial management and risk management. It's stuff they should know. Our presenters are so knowledgeable and they do such a great job, and it's really urge other people to attend. With that, I want to thank all of you for attending tonight. Information will be on the website. Leslie and Lisa are available, CNY for Lisa and 7120 for Leslie. Contact them with questions and concerns. We'll work through this. President-elects, when you're at MD PELS in Syracuse, we will have a ClubRunner representative there for other questions, and it'll be nice to actually make a contact. That's what's so great about this whole program. So again, thank you so much for attending, and I look forward to seeing you and a lot of other people next week.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Ralph.